The big, beautiful bill, questions about spending cuts, questions about DOGE. Will it pass the Senate? President Trump, Stephen Miller getting into it with a number of senators on this thing. What's your take on all of it?
Yeah, well, look, I mean, first off, Speaker Johnson and the House Republicans deserve a lot of credit for getting this out of the House of Representatives. I told the speaker, after it passed, I congratulated him and told him that it was exciting that they got it done, as President Trump likes to say, under budget and ahead of schedule, right? That's the first step here. Now, there's some things the Senate's going to clean up on this whole thing, right? So first and foremost, the House bill blocks Medicaid access to rural hospitals. I would imagine that the Senate's going to clean that up. Senator Josh Hawley, one of the leading America First senators, is leading the way on that. There's some other things that were tucked in there that the Senate's probably going to clean up. But for the most part, I would imagine that the bill looks a lot like what the bill that passed the House is as it makes it through the Senate. I would expect, because I've spoken to the Senate Majority Leader, John Thune. I interviewed him about a month ago. He told me that if the House hit its timeline, and they did by Memorial Day, that he believes that the Senate would possibly be able to get this thing done and off to the president by about July 4th, which would start the 250th year of the United States of America with a big economic boom. So that's the target date, it looks like, is they want to get this done by Independence Day. So hopefully the Senate will be able to rock and roll on this. Now, I've seen the debate recently, the past several days, over whether or not the DOGE stuff should be in here. Now, look, first off, the DOGE stuff is admirable. Everything that Elon Musk uncovered at the Department of Government Efficiency, they need to figure out a way to codify that stuff. That's a separate debate than the reconciliation, the big beautiful bill. The reconciliation, they're using budget gimmicks to get around Senate rules, so that way they can get the tax stuff into law by getting around the 60 vote rule in the Senate, and they can do it with a simple majority. To do that, they have to get past the Senate parliamentarian, and there's all sorts of different trickery and things that they have to do there. That means that they can't do what are called discretionary spending cuts. They can do mandatory spending cuts. Stephen Miller has made this pretty clear. He's the president's senior advisor in the White House. He's talked about this, and he's got a long history in the Senate. I've known Stephen Miller dating back more than a decade. One of the smartest people you'll ever talk to. But the point is that the reconciliation stuff, they have to focus on the mandatory stuff. The DOGE stuff is discretionary spending things. So like things like, I'm being oversimplistic here, but teaching monkeys how to blow bubbles or something, right? Like that's the stuff that goes in the appropriations process. That's a separate fight. That is the government funding fight that comes after the big beautiful bill. So they've got to do the big beautiful bill to lock in the 2017 tax rates, do the no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, all that kind of stuff, as well as a lot of the other things that the president has in there, like the immigration enforcement, the energy stuff, et cetera. They get that stuff through Congress. Then they're going to come back. The government is funded until the end of September. So then the Congress is going to, in July, start the process really of what's called the appropriations process. There's multiple ways you can fund the government. You can fund the government through a continuing resolution or an omnibus spending bill. That's the way Congress has done it for the last 30 years. Conservatives have long believed that we should go back to the way we used to do it, which was the 12 different appropriations bills. The House Appropriations Chairman, Tom Cole, he has signaled that they want to go back to the 12 appropriations bills, and that he hopes that the Appropriations Committee will have them through their committee at least, and maybe even the House by the end of July, setting up a showdown with the Senate Democrats. But that's where it's the appropriations process is where, whether it be an individual appropriations bills or an omnibus or a CR, where you would see the DOGE recommendations implemented into law, because they need to get it to the through the full Senate with the 60 votes. Now that sets up a showdown with the Senate Democrats and the congressional Democrats in the House side, but particularly the Senate, because if you do have a funding plan, let's say, you get close to or a little over a majority of the Senate Democrats on board, you're going to need at least 7 if you had all 53 Republicans, maybe even into double digits. It just depends on the actual vote numbers that you have in the end of Democrats in the Senate to vote for this in the end. So that's the fight, right? Like, so if you want to see the DOGE stuff implemented, and I think a lot of people out there do, you've got to really lean on the appropriations committee guys, and particularly in the House, because that's where this process is going to start. So Tom Cole is the chairman of that committee. He's from Oklahoma. He's been a longtime House Republican. An interesting guy. He really likes the process and the nitty gritty of the House of Representatives, and views himself kind of like that, like a protector of the rules and like a dean of the House, etc. But the real fight is going to be with those guys like John Rutherford and Mike Simpson and these other members of the Appropriations Committee. They're the ones who are going to decide if Elon Musk's work makes it into federal law or not. Right? Like, so do the House Appropriations Committee members go for this? And then if they get it into the House bills and they pass them out of the House, the various cuts that DOGE recommended, then they have to go through the Senate as well. And that's an even tougher process. But the question is do the Republicans have particularly these Appropriations Committee guys? So, I mean, I would literally say that the person or persons who are responsible for whether or not DOGE succeeds are the House Appropriations Committee Republicans.